You are now watching On Point, a news and public affairs show from California State University, Northridge.
Good afternoon and welcome to On Point. I'm your host, Spencer Ferreira, and today we're discussing the foundation of a union that could possibly make history in the U.S. The California State University student assistants are voting on creating a union that would be the largest of undergraduate students in the country. With over 16,000 student assistants across 23 campuses, the union is aiming to earn more benefits such as salary increase, insurance, and even travel and entertainment discounts. Today, I'm joined by three guests, two of which are student assistants. First of which, Danielle Lee, welcome to the show. The second student assistant, Valentina Flores. Valentina, welcome
Hi.
to the show. And I'm also joined by a union member with the CSUN, Ivan Yepez. Ivan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I want to start this conversation by talking about what you guys do specifically. So I'm going to start with you, Ivan. You're a union representative. Could you tell me a little bit about what you do?
I am with SEIU-UHW. I'm a healthcare worker. I work for a hospital. I'm a member of a union, UHW. That's the local chapter. And I'm an activist as well as a organizer. And that's what we are doing here now at CSUN, and organizing the student assistants.
So as student assistants, what do you guys do? First with you, Danielle.
I am a student assistant for the Institute of Sustainability. I was a compost assistant, and my work entailed working out in the sustainability garden in the north part of campus, and that would involve collecting recyclables and composting them.
And Valentina, same question to you.
So I work in student outreach and recruitment. My job entails giving tours to prospective students, answering phone calls, emails, and helping whoever I can over the phone or in person.
So it sounds like there's a lot of different departments when it comes to being a student assistant. So there's many different options for students to work on campus, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why are you guys voting to unionize? Let me start with you, Danielle.
A union would make us stronger all as a whole. Students need to have the benefits, or students should be able to have benefits that allow them to have the union power, the grouping behind having equal pay, having sick pay, having time off, and all of these other things that are entitled to actual union workers should also be entitled to the student workers as well.
Now, what do you mean by equal pay? Because I thought that every student assistant got paid the same.
No. Our pay is based upon our department's setting of the pay scale for the student assistant job.
Valentina, is that something that you can relate to? Anything that you would like to add to what she said?
I mean, me personally, I don't live on campus. I live at home with my parents, and I play with the mariachi on the weekends, so it's not as hard for me to live off of my wages, but it's still, I use this job to pay for my books, pay my tuition, and I would say it is kind of hard, and especially trying to balance everything as a first year.
Now, Ivan, as a union representative, is this something that's pretty commonplace with student assistants?
Yes, many students are working two jobs to help them support their studies, or just to support themselves. Cost of living is quite high here in California, so there is a need for them to work two jobs. But becoming a union would definitely help that be resolved.
Now, he mentioned working two jobs. Is that the case with either one of you, starting with Danielle?
Yes, not only did I have the student assistant job, I also have an off-campus job. So I had those two jobs, but currently, as of this semester, I have three jobs. I am currently an RA, student assistant, and a part-time worker.
And does your student assistant job help you towards your degree in any sense? Does it help you gain experience in in that matter?
Be it that it's a department that's not specific to my major, it doesn't necessarily help me, but it does give me valuable work skills that I would be able to transfer elsewhere in sustainability.
Now, with you, Valentina, are you in the same boat in the sense that you have to work a second job, you're in need of more hours? What's your situation
Well,
like?
for me, mariachi is kind of like a second job. I use it during the weekends, but right now I'm currently just freelancing, so I don't have a very steady source of income when it comes to mariachi. But with the job, it's more about networking for me. Since I do want to go into education and teaching, I just want to be able to make sure that I can help students or people coming into the college.
Now, what are some of the difficulties about working two jobs? Valentina, I'll start with you.
I feel like for me, it's more of time management and just remembering that I have readings and I have to be able to also focus on myself when I have to, and just being able to take care of myself when I have to.
For me, the biggest portion of having two jobs is, again, the multitasking and time management. Not only do I go to school full time, I also work part time. So sometimes school falls by the wayside. So it is very important to understand that I need to be in an environment that is sympathetic to my education, that education comes first before my career does, because without an education, I wouldn't have a career.
So it sounds like you're struggling a little bit when it comes to balancing out when to prioritize school, when to prioritize work. Ivan, as a union representative, is that maybe one of the positive things about not being a union is being limited to those 20 hours?
It in some cases maybe, but the majority of the student assistants, they, as you can see, they're working 2 and 3 jobs, which really, and still that may be it wouldn't help them support themselves. So having that cap really doesn't help. If they would be able to work more, that would help. Many of them do want to work more.
Are there any other consequences that there might be for not being in union and things staying the way they are?
Things right now as they are. Some students even live in their cars as is. It's very hard their situation.
Now, what would the union be getting from employees?
I believe the union, or rather the employees, would get a lot more benefit by becoming a union. Their voice would be heard much more as one voice, which would be much stronger. And of course, the salaries, all that will improve definitely. Benefits once they have a contract, and they themselves would be able to negotiate their contract with the Cal State system once they get to that point.
Now, you two both work in separate departments. If you could maybe share some insight of what maybe some of your coworkers think about being in a union, if there's been any negative feedback, so to speak.
At least for my department, I don't believe that there has been any negative repercussions or any negative feel about it, because my department is made up of former CSUN students, and understanding that this work is hard work, it's backbreaking work, it involves labor-intensive, things. They're very sympathetic in the fact that there should be these guidelines set in place to make sure that future students aren't abused by the power that the CSU has.
Is that something you can relate to in your workplace, Valentina?
Well, we see all the benefits, such as more affordable parking, the hours, so we just see it as a positive thing.
So there's been no negative feedback that you've heard of?
Not that I've heard of.
We've been discussing the possibility of a union with our guests Valentina, Danielle, and Ivan. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Our reporter Danielle Herrera gives us an inside look to what the CSUN community and local businesses think about unionizing and how it can affect them.
Taking a stand to make a difference can be a difficult task. For California State University student assistants, unity and pride may just bring the change that they've been hoping for. The California State University Employees Union opened a vote to establish the CSU Workers Union, which started on January 25th and will run until February 22nd. If the stand against what the CSU EU calls exploitation succeeds, student assistants may earn themselves higher salary pay, tuition waiver, affordable parking, and full-time benefits.
Honestly, our pay is not livable at all. I mean, the fact that we're capped at 20 hours because, they're saying they put us as students first, but all that does is make it so that we have to get another job off campus in order to afford our living expenses.
One taco truck owner was affected financially from a recent strike and hopes the vote to unionize doesn't lead to another one.
Pienso que no, porque igual afectaría.
I think no. It will affect my business. Our clients are 50% students here. I think a strike will affect us.
Think of it as an important game of chess. The chess pieces want to unionize, but at the end of the day, the board controls the movement. I say important because this is considered the largest non-academic student worker campaign in U.S. history.
It goes back to capitalism, and even the university system sometimes is run just like a corporation. It's all about money. It's all about butts in the seat. And the students are workers. They perform a job that's important. And they deserve, just like the faculty, just like any other employees, they deserve to be treated fairly.
In Northridge, I'm Daniel Herrera, On Point.
So after watching the package we just saw, what are some of your initial thoughts? What's something that stuck out to you? First, I'll start with you, Ivan.
I just see it as a benefit for what we're doing right now, and that is the student assistance with their salaries as well as their work caps, and overall it's going to benefit them.
Now, from the perspective of another student, does it feel reassuring that you guys are doing what is necessary as student assistants? First with you, Danielle.
Yes, it feels good knowing that even if I don't see the benefits within my time here, the future generations of CSUN students will be able to reap the benefits that the union will have on their student assistant work.
And you, Valentina?
I agree with Danielle. You can't really see it right now, but it will benefit the future generations, even if it's 5-10 years from now, but they will be able to benefit, even if I don't now.
Now, let's talk about some of the negative aspects that we saw. Clearly, there was a food truck owner who had his business impacted negatively because of the strike that recently occurred with the Cal State faculty. If students were to go on strike for whatever reason, wouldn't there be some sort of hesitation to maybe go on strike? Ivan?
At this point in time, we don't see that. First, we have to reap the benefits of the vote. Once we establish, yes, that the union is coming in, we have to organize to set up teams for the negotiations. And that's still a bit of a ways.
Now, when is the time to vote, and how long will that take?
The voting started January 25th, and it's currently being done now. What we're doing, I am assisting Lupe Estrada. She is a Cal State University employee union member at this time, also a steward here at the campus, and I'm assisting her in canvassing students or student assistants, and like Valentina and Danielle, urging them to vote at this point, and that's where we're at right now. The vote will end February 22nd.
Now, what determines the criteria, or I guess what's the criteria to determine if the voting was successful to unionize or if it's not going to go through?
It has to be more than 50% of the employees need to be in favor of the union. At this point, we do see a lot more than that because it would definitely benefit them. And we're just planting the seeds, as Danielle said. You know, once that's done, it shouldn't be long when you start reaping the benefits, health-wise, salary-wise, and other benefits that they will get from it. But definitely, it will help them. And we're just waiting for the results of the voting.
Now, to follow up one last time with that, how many students have voted roughly?
We don't have an actual estimate, but we have a goal. We're not there yet, and that's why the reason we are canvassing the campuses and pushing for the vote.
Have both of you guys voted yet, starting with Danielle?
I was unable to vote online. I had to I had to sign up for a paper ballot, but I did vote, yes.
Now, you briefly said purchase there. Did you have to purchase?
I didn't have to purchase.
Okay.
I had to call in, sorry.
Okay, so the voting is free.
The voting is free. Sorry about that. That was a slip of tongue.
No, just want to make sure because, you know, there's so many negatives to what student assistants are experiencing. If you had to purchase to vote, that would just be
ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Valentina, have you voted already?
Yes, I voted in January, towards the end of January.
Is it a pretty easy process?
Yeah, you just have to go onto your email and find it. It's fairly easy.
So it's an email that's automatically sent out to all student assistants who are currently working? Has there been any advocating, or I guess any pushback on students, oh no, I'm not going to vote, maybe there's no point? Have you heard any of that?
No, from all of my coworkers, we've all voted yes, especially because we have a lot of new students working now. So we want to make sure that we all either get the benefit or the future students get the benefits.
Now, when you're in the workplace, do managers see things differently when it comes to being in a union?
We haven't seen anything. We haven't heard much from our higher-ups, but we do see a lot of our counselors, and they're saying you guys should have a union because they know the benefits.
All right. Well, thank you for that. You're watching On Point. When we return, we will discuss our conclusions on the topic. We'll be right back.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
Welcome back. You're watching On Point. We have some final questions for our guests to truly give us their perspective on the issue at hand. Ivan, I want to start with you. You mentioned before that the voting is going on right now and will end in February. Could you tell me what the process would be like after the voting ends?
After the voting ends, we want the results, of course, and that will be told. After that, if the union is in, organizing to create teams to negotiate the contract. Any dues or no dues will be done until the process of having a contract starts. I mean, once we have a contract, then the union dues will be starting. The dues are 1.2% of your earnings, meaning for every $100, it would be $1.20. Then only then, once you have a contract, then those dues will be due for the union. Otherwise, other than that, I would say if all goes well, by July, August, September at the most, I would figure. And of course, if Cal State is willing to negotiate in good faith and, you know, give the students what they deserve. Many students even work two different job descriptions even in the school. So we're hoping that September at the most, dragging it, that would be, they will have a contract.
Are the dues something that could possibly go up over time, or would it stay at that 1.2%?
I'll give you my personal experience. At UHW, I've been a healthcare worker for about 20-some years, and we pay 2%, but that has never gone, I started at 2%, I'm still 2%.
Okay, well, I guess that's good to hear that, you know, the student assistants who are looking into these negotiations could have some sort of stability when it comes to that.
Definitely.
Now, you mentioned that it would possibly lead in somewhere into the summer, correct?
It can, but it all depends just how fast the teams and are set up, organized, and then the of course Cal State's representatives start negotiating if they're ready, and the union for the students are ready. Then it's just a matter of negotiating, coming to an agreement, and doing it. I don't foresee. I certainly wouldn't foresee any strikes or anything like that starting the first year. No.
So, if the negotiations wouldn't take place until the summer, would it be possible that you guys wouldn't even be affected by being in a union? Let me start. Danielle, when do you graduate?
I don't graduate until spring of 2025, so I have a little less than a year left on my time here.
Okay, so you'd actually be able to see firsthand some of the benefits of being in a union. How about you, Valentina?
Oh, I don't graduate until around 2028.
Oh, so perfect. You'd be able to, you know, reap the benefits, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, both of you guys had mentioned that you are working several jobs. If you're able to get 40 hours, is that something that you guys plan on quitting, starting with you, Danielle?
It would allow me a little less need to go out and find other work. So if there were more hours available on campus, I would stay with that one job. So hypothetically, if the ceiling were to be lifted, I would see myself in one position only.
How about you, Valentina?
Since mariachi is basically my hobby, I would still play on the weekends. But I wouldn't see it as a need, more as a, oh yeah, I want to go gig. I'm going to go gig.
Right, because you're still struggling to pay some bills, pay tuition, books, all that kind of stuff, right?
At this point, it would just be like spending money. If I want to go out, go to the mall, go with friends, that can be that money, and my work money will be my school money.
What kind of instrument do you play?
Well, I play guitar and the vihuela, and I also sing, and I plan on picking up the guitarrón, which is the bass for mariachi.
I'm sorry, I don't really speak Spanish, so forgive my pronunciation. What is, I guess, could you say it again?
It's a vihuela.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a 5-string. It's almost the same as a guitar. It's one less string of a guitar. So on a guitar, you have 2 E strings, and the vihuela is missing the top E string, and it's just different pitches than a guitar.
Oh, very interesting. Well, thank you for that information from you all. Coming up, is this union really a possibility? We'll ask Ivan, Danielle, and Valentina if they believe it can actually come to reality and their final thoughts on this historic possibility.
Everybody in my house knows how to ride a bike except me. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike and you didn't? I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Welcome back to On Point. As we finish out our show, we want to know what you truly believe will be the outcome of the possibility of a union. Do you believe after the vote, it will truly pass? Let's start with you, Danielle.
I believe it will. I had the opportunity to do some phone banking, and the overall response we did receive seemed to be good. There were some people that, of course, that are in my situation that are graduating or have already graduated that are ineligible. But from the people that have responded, it seems like a very good response.
And for you, Valentina?
From what I've seen, like with my coworkers and talking to other people in different departments, it does seem like it's going to pass.
And to close it off with you, Ivan?
Remaining positive, I am hoping it will, and yes, we will see it.
Now, there's a lot of people that will be affected by this, the so-called universe. What is that universe, so to speak?
Approximately, give or take, 20,000 employers or student assistants.
Is that just at Cal State Northridge, or is that amongst all the Cal States?
Amongst all the Cal States.
And what do the finances look like?
That I really wouldn't be able to tell you. It all depends on the contracts, the final contract, what the gain will be, and when the negotiations get done.
So that's something that takes place during the negotiations?
Yes.
And what does that process look like during the negotiations?
The student assistant team would be there, as well as the union team, attorneys maybe, for the Cal State and the union, and just negotiating what's equitable, or our concern would be what's equitable for the student assistants. And of course they're looking at their side too, and just coming to an agreement. That is the part of the process, and coming to an agreement.
Now, what are some of the reactions from the different universities and even Cal State Northridge itself? What are their reactions to the voting?
Depending on the region, would have a bit to do with that, what is done. But overall, it's only one union, one contract.
Okay. Why are the regions different?
People's sentiments about unionizing, perhaps, and politicizing the whole process, which is really not about that. But it's basically the needs of the student assistants, what they need at this point.
Well, what about Northridge specifically?
Overall, everybody's well, I don't want to say that, but rather there's a lot of people that are in favor in changing that to and better the labor helping the employees, most of all the student assistants, better their salaries and benefits. Yes.
All right.
That is the point.
Well, I just want to get one last final thought from each of you, starting with you, Danielle.
Student work is real work, and with the union, all students get, fair equality, so yeah.
And you, Valentina?
I would say, especially in my department, when we're trying to help students come to CSUN, it's extremely important for the future generations that are going to be coming here and working here.
All right. Well, you heard it from the student assistants themselves. Thank you three for coming out and to our show and giving us your insight. This is On Point. I'm your host, Spencer Ferreira, along with our guests, Danielle, Ivan, and Valentina. Thanks for watching.